First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, once again for joining in. It's a pleasure to have you with us today and learn a lot of things from your end.
Thank you
And
so much for having me.
thank you, ma'am. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you all to today's IRE Talks. I'm Professor Sandeep Pansali, and I'm truly excited to host this webinar today. So IRE Talks always have been about bringing together the brilliant mind, sharing the stories of innovation, and learning from some of the best in industry. Today's session is a truly special one because we have somebody who is an inspiring leader, Ms. Kanika Baswani, a passionate advocate for diversity, a strategist in talent management, and a builder of businesses. She has dedicated her career to empower the individuals, especially women, to restart and thrive in their professional journey. As a founder of WEN, Women Entrepreneur Network, she has created opportunities for financial independence as well as the career growth, redefining the landscape of flexible work. So before we dive into the insightful session, insightful session on fail, learn, and restart your entrepreneurial journey, let's make a moment to reflect why resilience and reinvention is essential for today's entrepreneurship. So for all those who are joining for the first time, let me introduce you all to GIBS Business School, Bangalore. GIBS Business School is based in Bangalore, a place where education meets innovation, and students are empowered to become the future-ready leaders, entrepreneurs, as well as the change makers. GIBS offers an AICTE-approved PGDM program with dual specialization, as well as BBA program, which is affiliated to Bangalore University. What makes us unique is our practice schools of excellence, where we focus on real-world learning through specialized schools such as School of AI, the Finishing School, the School of Youth Leadership, the School of Happiness and Mindfulness. We believe education should not just prepare the students for the jobs, but also shape them into the leaders, thinkers, as well as the entrepreneurs who can create an impact in the world. So before we dive into the topic, let me give you a small brief about what IRE is all about. So IRE Talks is about innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. Is our way of bringing the industry into the classroom. It's a platform where we get a lot of industry experts, the visionaries, the entrepreneurs, as well as the business leaders who can share their first-hand experience, and we want them to inspire the young minds and equip them with the practical knowledge. And for that, we are so delighted to have our esteemed guest for today's session, Ms. Kanika, founder of WEN, Women Entrepreneur Network, a seasoned executive search professional and a business leader. She has an over decade of experience in talent acquisition, leadership hiring, as well as the HR advisory across the industries. She has played a pivotal role in empowering women to restart their careers, fostering diversity in the workspace, with a background in business development, client management, as well as the strategic hiring in organizations such as Alexa, Wow Jobs, and WEN. She has built and scaled businesses through simple yet powerful processes. A true advocate for career reinvention, she continues to create opportunities that drive success as well as the financial independence. Ma'am, thank you so much once again for joining in and looking forward to learn a lot of things from you and moving ahead with the session. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Those big words and big lines make me feel suddenly that I don't know what did I do so much that
Ma'am, you're on mute.
Thank you so much. You've been very kind. So, I mean, when the team connected with me to probably talk about this session, so before I said a yes, I went through a couple of IRE sessions. I saw what all was happening, and there was so much happening on entrepreneurship that I was wondering when I was choosing the topic or probably talking about the things, that there's been so much that has already been taught to these people or told to these people who are going to be those future leaders, those future entrepreneurs, and those future employees, bureaucrats. They already know so much. Had we got those opportunities, we wouldn't have started at that age of 40, 45, wherever most of these business people have started, or in our era people started. Either you had business families to support and business families drew business people, or otherwise, if you were to choose, I mean, I don't remember any of my school friends or college friends answering this question when asked, I mean, I saw it in one of the webinars that you guys conducted, where the person asked that how many of you want to be entrepreneurs. And there were a lot of people or nods that you guys had. But in our times, I don't remember many of us even raised our hand saying, yes, I will do that. But it's very encouraging. It's a good change, a welcome change. So when this topic came to me, or when we decided to go ahead with this topic, I was reflecting back, and I thought, what better that I could do than start with my own journey. So let me just quickly take you guys through this roller coaster that I went through in my journey. So I started very early in life, just after, in fact, in my final year of graduation is when I took up my first job with, and those days way back, the IT boom was big. I mean, everybody wanted to be a software developer, it seemed. And I joined this company called NIIT, which was offering IT courses. I joined them in the sales team, and I used to take care of student placements over there. I was just about 20. Marriage happened very quickly. I was 21 when I got married, and everything just changed because I had just started working, just started enjoying or learning, what job is all about. And I got married, and shifted to Delhi. Now this market was very different. Delhi had so much exposure, which me way back then in my tier 2 city never had seen. But sales was hectic. Sales jobs are not easy. There were numbers, there were targets. And I was not enjoying sales because I was used to the student placement work that I liked at NIIT, and Tata Infotech did not give me that. So I switched another job, and there was this startup into recruiting called Elixir. I was the fourth employee that they hired. It was a very small company, and nobody knew. But the exciting bit was, I mean, since I was married then, and the company offered me half the salary that I was getting. So my family, again, I was new in the house, and they were like, okay, if you wanted to take it up, just take it up. But why would you want to come down to half your salary? As it is, you just got a raise because you moved from Delhi, I mean Jhansi, to Delhi. So you've just got a raise. Why do you want to go back to the compensation that you were at way back, 3 years back? But I mean, I took it up because I was excited that it was into placements. And that is what my interest was while I was at NIT as well. So I mean, the first curve or the dip, or I don't know if it was a failure, but came in again, moving from 20,000 to a 10,000 rupees. And that point of time, that was okay. I mean, just because I had no expenses, nothing to keep up with, my travel was managed, so it's okay. Um, but next year, after I had my kid, my son was born, and again I thought, now I will never be able to resume work. But the company that I had joined was gracious enough. They were happy with what I was doing. And even before I resigned, because we had no maternity policy then, because it was such a small company, we were 4 people, 5 people. So we never had a maternity policy. Today we talk about 6 months. Those days we didn't even have one. So in 3 months, when they gave me a new appointment letter and they told me to join in 3 months, and while they'll not pay me the mat leave or whatever, but my job was secured. So I mean, happy about that. Then I joined them back, and then the journey never looked back, honestly. Recruiting was something that I thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, it comes passionately from within to me. I think, every day when I get up, I feel, okay, today I'm going to work on this position, and it's exciting to find people, know more, and understand which industry, how, what sort of people, are available, what sort of people do what kind of role. So it was very exciting, and consulting has been my first love when it came to recruiting. I don't quite enjoy the corporate kind of hiring, but I've always enjoyed the consulting work. So I mean, I spent about 14 years with Elixir, and this was where I learned my entire I mean, I owe it to this company for whatever I know today, or whatever I'm able to share with anybody today. uh, we saw very tough times. We saw two recessions. uh, we saw it in 2012. We saw it in 2018, 20. And then we saw the pandemic. But just before, I was enjoying that ride, and everything was on that high pedestal, where I was managing 4 or 5 verticals, have had an understanding of bringing in the first RPO in India. So I mean, the ride was good, but there was a phase where I had to then take a break because I had a ailing father-in-law, and my son reached his 10th standard. 1 year later, the exams were over, but my whole break, was very painful. A, because I was not doing what I really like doing, and secondly, I think that motivation, that zeal, that whole feeling of I'm happy was no longer there. In that 1 year, it made me feel as if I'm just not needed. People in the industry were not reaching out, which was not the case. I had always enjoyed. I think that whole internally, that whole feeling of, do I have it in me anymore, was very, very hurting. 1 year later, when dad passed away, and 10th was over, I had to do something. So I started looking for jobs. For 6 months, I was looking for jobs. For 6 months, I did not get an opportunity which was either matching the role that I was doing or the money that I was getting. And um, after 6 months, it was so frustrating, and it was something that that took away that entire confidence that I had built over the first slip of making the right decision at 23, finding the company that I really had my soul heart moving into, taking up that placement role. In the next 1.5 decade, things drastically changed. I wasn't the same person any longer. And emotionally, yes, it was draining, because every day when my husband came back home, I think as an individual, he found me crying because I didn't know what to do. I went for an interview and I didn't crack it. And I didn't know. And I mean, my entire life, I have always been taking interviews and assessing people. And here I couldn't clear one assessment. Finally, I got an opportunity, which was at a 30% salary cut. But I was so frustrated that I just took it up. um, I thought it's on the rise then. Life had different plans for me. Finally, I mean, that opportunity was not neither rewarding nor satisfying, because it always came to me that maybe I'm not good enough any longer. Then I thought it's better that I probably work on this plan. And I thought, this entire journey from this point of time where I took the break to finding or picking up a job, what it got me thinking was that this journey would be so difficult for many of the other women who want to restart their career journeys. There must be many of them who would be going through this phase, and these 6 months, for me, I could still at least start somewhere. For many of them, they would never have the confidence or the courage to restart again. And just because others are able to put 8 hours does not make them any better than who I am, or who I have been through my careers. So I think I started working on this business plan. I had never done business before. What I had done was business, where I did a lot of business. I was working as a business head here in Elixir, but that was not my money. I mean, at when it was my funds, and I started working on the business plan. I had not really studied business because I wasn't uh, MBA from a marketing or a finance background. So, what it got me thinking was that this plan has to be very rock solid. It has to. And then I thought, why should I put in my own money? If this plan is solid, then I will get an investor. So I started working on it, and I started talking to people. Um, I think, if I recollect correctly, at least seven rejections before the eighth person told me to look at some tweaking in the plan, and then he will probably discuss it out with me. And finally, I got my seed fund. So finally, we got some amount of funding, and we could see a runway of at least about a year and a half. So about 17, 18 months we had a runway from the fund that we uh, created. And there was never a looking back, honestly. Today, we are 7 years in business. We've diversified from just about having one recruiting business line that we created to four separate business lines or business verticals. And we have about 250 women who've been able to restart their career journeys and be with us for these 6 7 years. So this has been a truly a roller coaster. It has been a topsy turvy ride. And when Neetu gave me the option to choose, I thought, you know this is something that was closer to what my journey has been. And I thought I'll probably talk about something like that. When we discussed about the journey of an entrepreneur, I think some truths that I was reading, and now that this Shark Tank thing has happened, I think there is a lot of awareness about these numbers. But I'll just quickly talk about these. That you know there are enough and more studies that are talking about 94% of these startups shut down within 10 years. 94 is a huge number. An average entrepreneur spends about 3.8 times before he fails, about 3.8 times before he succeeds the first time. Okay. And there are about 30% of failed entrepreneurs who never try again or ever try again. 70% of them do not even have the courage to restart. Okay. And when I feel, I think, so I don't know how many of you ever played basketball. I've played in my school and college. So when you dribble, after you dribble and you're ready to shoot, you have to bend. So just before you take the next leap, you have to take that pause. Okay, and only then you can shoot. And that is the fine line between the effort that one makes. It could be just about that fine line of 5% more that you need to do between this failure and a success. That's often a fine line. Normally people give up when they are just that away from it. That minor dip that comes in, breaks a lot of us. So that's the uncomfortable bit, and nobody can see it. You can't really say that, okay, yes, now is the 5% that is balance and I can try this. And that's why most of them do not land up restarting. There are very many failures that the industry is talked about. There are lot many that are talked about, and I've picked up some cases where they were headquartered out of Bangalore, mostly because maybe you're familiar with some names. Smash is a gaming area, started and closed, I think, within a year. Jabong was very big, way back in 2012, grew to a large size. We aspired to do hiring for them. We could never get through to them. Finally, in 2020, they shut shop. Doodwala has been our client, and we used to do their hiring. They deliver the last mile, grocery delivery, like
Absolutely
Zepto
right.
or a BB delivery. Blinkit, yeah. So, similar business. They were a client for us. We did a lot of hiring for them. They used to hire top-notch guys from the IIT and IITs and the IIMs. So we did a lot of product manager hiring for them. And within 4 years, it just we could see it coming. Honestly, 2012, 2018, we could see it coming, and 2018 we stopped working with them. But we were looking working with outplacing their candidates as well. So, but we saw that journey happen. Stazilla, again, a client, we did a lot of hiring for them. They were in this business like a Tribo or a Oyo. They used to take over hotel and restaurant hotel properties and redo them to create better and standard living. So, again, shuttle, I've used their services a lot. We never got to work with them, but again, shuttle was, they used to have those shuttle buses that they used to run for corporates. And a very, very good service. But 2020, when the pandemic hit, and the offices got shut, shuttle failed. I mean, they could not revive and sustain. And they apart from that, I mean, internationally, there are so many talked about cases. I mean, given a fact that Walt Disney, I mean, took in a lot of years before he saw success. I mean, Thomas Edison saw a lot of failures before he saw his success. I mean, there are enough and more examples. Dyson, the vacuum cleaning company, before they reached their first gold mine product, there were a lot of failures, about 5,000 odd failures that they'd seen before that. So, I mean, it has to happen, and there is no escape to it. There is no way that one can see success without going through this journey. There are some wins, there are some roads there are some rides that are smooth, and there are some spells that are easy. But business or entrepreneurship isn't a straight line. There is a roller coaster. You have to go through those peaks and turfs to be able to become what you become as an entrepreneur. You need to be clear about where you're headed. It is an inevitable part of our journeys. But the key is not to avoid that failure. The idea is to learn from it. There is no problem, there is absolutely no problem in committing mistakes, but there is a huge problem in committing the same mistake over and over again. And that's what this session was all about. I mean, we are today here to learn from maybe my mistakes or our mistakes, and so that you don't have to repeat them to learn it. So, I mean, going forward, I think what failures get to you is, like I was talking about in my personal capacity as well, that emotional cycle is the first thing that one needs to deal with. There is a huge first thing that is, how can it happen? It can't happen to me. How could I go through this? Why me? you know and then once you absorb that shock, and accept that denial, you start accepting that thing, that okay, it's happening. The first thing is to point fingers. you know this one did not do it. There is so much of rage, anger. You start looking at whose fault it is. It's the client's fault. They did not pay in time. That's why I did not have cash flow. The customer, the sales went down. The HR did not give me the right people. The HR did not give me the people timely. The collections did not happen. Throughout, everybody else's fault, but I didn't see it coming. So that's the second huge emotion that people go through, or we as entrepreneurs go through. Then is, maybe if I did something better here, or maybe if this one did something better here, or maybe if this would have happened a little earlier than you know current situation be, then things would have been different. After all that blaming, and you understand, and it starts sinking that now it's happened, and now it is, you know uh, there is a huge phase where you cut off from everything. You just lie low. You just get into that shell where you don't want to meet people, you don't want to see people, and you want to cut it off from everywhere, and you don't want to look around of where you could have done better, or is there a way to salvage anything further? Can you do anything now? And that is the worst phase to be in, because neither you are helping the team or the people or the customer or the sales team, anybody who's around, and you're cutting off your ties from everything. And now that this has happened, that you get into a downward spiral. Now the person is feeling sad, feels sadder, and then becomes saddest. And that is not, then obviously, if you're on ground zero, then starting from there back again is all right. But when you're sub zero, starting from there and restarting and rebuilding your confidence, which is in the first place in shatters right now, is the first difficult thing. People who are able to balance here and accept that, okay, finally this has happened, it has happened, what can I do from here? Do I want to take up a job? Do I want to start afresh? Do I want to do the same business but little differently? What can I do more? And now, what have I learned from here? And what can I not repeat? What should I not repeat? And what are things that I need to replicate and make sure that I'm going to be working towards it? And then comes reinvention. Then you jot down your plan, saying, okay, these are four issues that I now see which I couldn't see earlier. Now these are four issues that I need to plug before I get into this phase. And in our case, in case of when we started, we were razor focused on just doing recruiting. I think our profits in the first 4 years were amongst the highest. We were able to enable the larger pools. I think about 150 of these women who are still on our network are women who started then, like 6 years, 7 years back with us. And I think the stickiness of the people who are joining in now in the last 3 years, I feel, or 2.5 years, I feel, the stickiness of these people is lesser than what it was for the previous batch or the previous. And we induct women who want to restart every single month, but there are 150 of them who joined between year 1 and year 4 who are still with us. And I think after we started building in newer pivots or newer businesses, we saw that because they had more options, because they could think of, okay, if I'm not doing recruiting, then I can do learning, I can do trainings, I can do HR advisory, and I can do digital. So these are again four options that I could. And our energies also got equally divided over people. I felt that, uh, so you need to keep in mind that what were the rights that you were doing in the last 4 years, and where are you now? What is it that you would want to do? And is my new approach helping or promoting the business that I'm looking at pursuing further? I think the most common setbacks that happen in businesses is largely because of one of these seven reasons, or maybe a multiple of these seven reasons. One, there is, and I was again, I'm not sure if everybody's following Shark Tank regularly, but 3 days or 4 days back, there was this lady who came from uh, a place in Gujarat called Morbi. They make tiles. I mean, that place is famous for tiles, wall tiles, floor tiles, handmade tiles, etc., etc. And this woman had started a company called Tilecraft. Um, I think 3 4 years back. I didn't follow, or I don't remember the whole episode, but something like that. And the whole, she made a brilliant pitch, she was making money and everything else, and she wanted to create an app, and thus she wanted to scale. And I think one common thread between the five sharks who were sitting there was, who needs your product? You just created an online catalog. Okay. So does the market really need the product that you're bringing to the market? So that's the first thing. The second is, are you the only one who's doing this, or you are just one amongst the many? I mean, there is already a saturate. So are you a Zepto has come in a market where there is Swiggy, Insta, there is already Zomato who's delivering, or there is Blinkit that's delivering, there is already a delivery that's happening, there is Doodwala that's there, and now you have a Zepto. What is the uniqueness that Zepto comes with? Okay, so that uniqueness needs to be percolated to the last man or the last customer standing. They should be able to see the visible difference between a Zepto and a Blinkit or a Insta. Okay, then, while you've got a product, brilliant product, but your product is the market future ready? I mean, there are so many tools, that AI has got to the market, but are all products successful? And if they are, brilliant, but a lot of them fail. We've all seen 94% and whatever. So the products are not market fits. The market is not ready for it, or they were ready for it way back, and there have been a lot of other products who have filled up the market with it. Or sometimes the public doesn't even know, the customer does not even know that your product exists in this market. A lot of times, it happened to me before I started believing in the effectiveness of marketing. I was not a I'm a pure play salesperson or a recruiting person. So I would be like, I'll go to the customer and I'll tell them, and sales will happen. But a lot of times, just at the back of my mind, if I've heard about the company name, my belief is almost about 50% or 60% more. So even while saying that, I'm not giving an ad like a ICICI Prudential or a Amul, but if I'm reaching that audience effectively, I am able to communicate with my customer effectively, then, I mean, I can be a successful person because my audience knows me. Sometimes clients give us feedback, and I'm talking largely in the recruiting business, because once they hire from us, and the person does not do well, hypothetically, the person is not doing well in his career, and we ignore those signs of customer giving us, or our clients giving us the feedback saying your candidate is not regular to office. If you start ignoring that feedback, you will not get the new position to work on. You will only get the replacement position for this particular candidate. You will not get new work from them. And that's the power of a customer feedback. Good, bad, ugly, accept it on the face. There is no harm in putting your customer on a higher pedestal. When businesses start ignoring this, is where trouble happens. Then within the team, sometimes there are challenges of two salespeople in a particular territory. Now this one feels X person is going to do it, Y feels it's X's duty or responsibility, and nobody catches the clients in that area. There is no catchment, there is no new sale that is happening in a particular area. These could be as basic as that. And or the customer service team, it does not relay the feedback back to the customer relationship team. The customer relationship team does not give the adequate input to the sales team. So the sales process is not improving. Those are team related issues, and those are communication related issues that hamper the input of either marketing or customer service or product inputs that are going back into the system, and thus the business sees a failure. And then there are operational challenges. for example, the product is not good, the product that you're taking to the market is not acceptable, or there are logistical challenges, or there are supply chain related issues, or there are even order related issues. People are not able to use your app, your UI is not great, so all of that put together, it is a combination of one, or maybe combination of one or more reasons, where these businesses and the entrepreneur ignoring any of these seven areas leads to not such a good customer experience or customer reach per se. What does it call for? I think if the person is amongst the 30% who look at restarting it over again, then there is actually a retrospection that is required. The three basic questions that are required is to transform that failure into the next success is, you know um, did we take assumptions that were incorrect? Did we not do a market fitment correctly or assessment correctly? Were the assumptions that we were thinking basis which we started, not absolutely bang on? So the basic premise of the business was incorrect. So it calls for an introspection, saying that whether you did that study or not, and if there is a fundamental gap over there, then that needs to be said, because that forms the base of what you're going to start on. If there is a certain assumption that you're taking, that the customer is going to pay for x activity or x product, then basis what did you assume that he's going to pay 50 rupees, 500 rupees for it? Okay, that basis is incorrect, and that's where you need to rethink. Was the business giving us signs that we did not look into? So there are ways and means by which the HR came back to me saying that people are not very happy in the sales team. Did my salesperson say that customers are complaining about one, two, three issues in the product, which I ignored? Did they say that you're expensive than one or two other parallel products, which I ignored? So are there more features that are coming in the same cost, whether it is product or services? Whatever your final good is, did it show? And normally, in my experience of these 2.5 decades of whatever I've done, business always shows up signals. It's for you to catch them early. If you have visibility of it, or your ears on the ground, you will be able to sense it. And if you're not able to sense it, there will be repercussions. Now if I change everything and come back, will I make sense to my customer? The technology that I was using earlier, I was selling through my website. Now everybody wants an app for everything. So I don't have one. Will I still remain valuable for my customer even if I don't have an app? Should I work on the app first? Okay. I was reaching out to my customer for a customer feedback on a call. Okay, now for that I need five people who are going to be sitting in my office and taking customer feedbacks. Should I be looking for the customer service team to be created, or should I automate my entire system with feedbacks reaching me via this automated system? Is is the preposition that I have on plate any longer valuable for my business or my customer if I come back with this same product, similar product, but you know taking charge of the two other questions that I had missed out on? So does the market even have that problem any longer? um, I was selling, I don't know, but I was selling popsicles, but now it's winters. Who's going to buy it? Is my problem statement even there now? or should I invest in more and wait for another 4 months till winter passes, and then I should relaunch my product? Okay, so even basic things that have impacted this decision of and when you are in that depress or probably thinking about that restart, these are the three basic things that you should have uh, to revisit, or probably just rethink about, and work backwards from there while you start building your business plan. Very importantly, if you see in the large space, you see one or the other product not doing well, there is no harm in pivoting to what is selling. Okay, for me, hypothetically, I run 4 businesses. Okay, we do recruiting for customers, for clients, in the technology, non-technology, manufacturing, banking, financial services. We do hiring, which is our biggest business. Okay, then we do learning and development. We do corporate trainings for customers or companies. We do HR and diversity advisory services for them, and we do digital marketing or employer branding for them. God forbid, if a situation comes, I need to be sure, or I need to know which of these businesses is my customer patting my back for, and the rest are good to haves. So, what is my, I don't know if I mean, I'm sure you would have learned about something called the BCG matrix. So, what is my cash cow? This cash cow is what is gonna make or break my company. And for the sake of this cash cow, if I have to let go of the others, I should be able to pivot. That's what is entrepreneurship all about. Taking those calls. These companies that I've just mentioned about, I'm sure most of you know about it. You're very aware, candidates and students. But, all of these had to forget about all of these are basic Amazon. They were selling just books. There is pivoting and reverse pivoting. That's a part of business. It is what it is. You need to be looking at from where you are entering and where you're growing, and if it's degrowth for you, then coming back to what is important. you know I think Sam, I was again, I think heard it on Shark Tank only. I'm just quoting what these people. Samsung started as a grocery store. We don't see G of grocery anywhere on Samsung. What do we go to them today for? All our gadgets, right? I mean, they started as a grocery store. Fortunately for me, I don't know, I didn't have this slide earlier, but this morning I saw this on a status for somebody. And I was like, okay, I think it is a sign. I should just add this to my presentation. And I just copied that picture as it was on the status of a friend, which said Lamborghini started as a tractor company, Reliance was a textile company, LG was a facial care, and Samsung was a grocery store. It's the current situation that defines and evolves or creates that future. But there is no harm in pivoting towards where you want to be. Okay, today, the company could do 5 things, but is the market accepting those 5 things? If it is accepting only one, there is no harm in going back and figuring out what is your muda coming, where all can you remove the waste. Okay, what is the one thing that will make it happen? Because we are not doing business for the goodness in our hearts. Yes, goodness in our hearts is also a bit, you know but at the end of the day, we are all doing it to create more employment, doing it for creating wealth, creating an opportunity. For me, yes, getting women back to work was a big thing. But at the same time, was it like limited to just getting everybody back, whether they're making money or not? They will not work with me if they're not making money. If I'm not able to make them financially independent, my purpose defeats. So, looking at what you're going to take back, or when you're looking at rebuilding, re-initiating. I think the advantage that you have is the first time founders are succeeding at 18%. However, the previously failed founders succeed at 20%, which is an 11% higher chance relative. I mean, why? So it's comparative differential. It's an 11% higher chance that if you failed once, you will succeed. Okay. And as investors, a lot of times these investors choose to work with people who have seen failures. I mean, by the simple, I think, they know, they're more aware. If they've restarted, that means they've crossed that first hurdle of acceptance of going wrong. They're more grounded. They're able to see more, from the outcome. And since there is that hunger of not being able to fulfill it first time, you put in your maybe the ultimate best. And you have obviously you have at the end learned from that failure, and thus you're able to put in your best thing ahead. So I mean, I think what it requires is that I think one needs to document. And I mean, document, I don't know, but um, I personally like to write. So if it was me, I would say I would scribble on my own so that it stays, it gets printed. I mean, sometimes my team laughs when I tell them that pick up my blue diary for 2023, and on this, somewhere around 15th January to 18th January, you will find a note on this on the right hand column, and you will be able to see my notes there, because in my head, that's how I am able to remember things. And if it is imprinted like that, I think I register it more. It could be different for everybody else. So I think it's important to any which ways document it here. I mean, whichever way it registers. But what has been the biggest mistake that you did, and how you can rectify it the next time. Keep it into account when you're making the business plan ahead. Identify which assets still remain valuable, whether it is people, whether it is processes. So businesses run on basically the three P's: the people, process, and actually automation. These three things make everything run. So which of these are assets? If they remain valuable after you are restart, after the failure you're restarting, then worth it. I mean, keep that. Create smaller experiments. You don't have to invest and become big today. It can wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow will also be big. So take up the 2 3 whatever basic assignments that you think, or experiments that you think you can do justice to. Take only those at any given point of time, so that you are able to uh, do them to the T. It should not be that, as an individual, as an entrepreneur, you feel that you were not able to, you were dependent on some other person, some other process, some other software for this data to have thrown up. It should be something that you as a founder, you as a entrepreneur should have been able to monitor or monetize on your own. Okay. I think having a co-founder is a great idea, because it just happens that always there should be one maker and one checker, so that you don't burn, you don't have an outrageous burn of funds. So whoever, you may be the checker and somebody else may be making the plan, or vice versa. But it's always good to have at least one person who's seen similar phase in life, who's able to balance out. And whatever is the smallest viable restart that you can do, start with that, so that you set it right from and eradicate or remove the problem statements that you had in your first journey. I think while again, I'm just going back to the previous IRE sessions that I saw. A lot was talked about this, and I just thought I'll summarize few of the takeaways that I could gather from my journey or from the videos that I thought, which I'm just putting them together. I think making a support system for yourself, a network of somebody called a mentor, peer, advisor, whoever the person is, but somebody who's the checker. Okay, it's an important thing because somebody who sees the whole view from 360, is able to give you a finer viewpoint on things that you are able to not see while it is glaring back at you. Sometimes, since you're so engrossed into it, somebody cannot give you a bird's eye view from top. I mean, you are not able to see that. So having a mentor or an advisor really helps because they're able to keep you in check and they can work like your checker. There has to be basic safety nets created. What is my runway looking like? If it's 18 months, then when do I pull the red flag on? Whether it is 3 months, 6 months, 7 months, depending on the business that I am in, there have to be safety nets that I need to, or barricades that I need to put in, that beyond this I will not take, beyond this I'm not going to invest, beyond this I will not hire. And I think since I've gone through it, this is my personal thing that I added. It is difficult to maintain balance as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a entrepreneur, as a daughter. I feel sometimes the expectations rise so high that you start ignoring what you and your body thinks about. So I think that is what happens to a lot of these entrepreneurs, and thus one should be able to say, having the first two in place, you are able to normally manage the third. But I feel that one should make a balance and manage that stress, because at the end of the day, if you're there, then your business is there. If you're not there, for whatever reasons, unwell, health issues, I mean, who's going to take care of that business that you wanted to start or grow? Celebrate smaller wins. It's motivating for the team as well. And I think I don't know, but I feel, I still feel the same excitement when I do one closure that or closure for us is a joining that happens with a customer. So, those one-off joinings or candidates that I work on myself, still gives me the same joy that I got when I was working with an IIT. So I think for me, those are wins that I still enjoy myself doing. I still do that every single day that I talk to candidates. And I think one important thing is that, you know uh, never stop learning. I mean, I think many of you who've joined here is a testament that you wanted something to come out of this. I'm sure you would have heard about all this in the previous sessions, in many other webinars as well, and I'm sure in your textbooks or your course material as well. Not that I'm talking something out of the world, but I'm just talking something out of my sheer experience, which might be a little different from what the textbook really talks about. I think happy to answer questions if there are any, and happy to hear from you guys on your inputs. Anybody who wants to share any kind of a journey or an experience, happy to hear.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, first of all. I'm sure it was truly insightful to learn about I think today it is something like we have given the right topic to a right person. You say, right, that the right person at the right time. So this is what we have got today. So we are really privileged and honored to have you today. And there are a lot of questions. So with time constraint, we'll take about two or three questions. So quickly
Sure.
we can just look into those. The first question is something like, how do you differentiate between a temporary setback and a complete failure?
Um, Honestly, the financials help you tell that, because you would know that what kind of a runway is remaining. So, for example, I'll give you an example of my own business. Again, it's a recruiting related example. So, let me know if you don't understand it. If I have outstandings in the market, I know that today, if I may have a cash flow issue today, but money will come and I will have money in my account back. That is a temporary failure, because while I don't have money in my account and I'm running on an OD, okay, an overdraft from the bank, but I know that I have a outflow that is pending in the market and it'll come back. So that's a temporary blip, it'll pass. But if I don't have invoices that I have raised, my customers don't owe me anything, and I have no money in my account, and I'm approaching the 7th of the month where I need to pay my salaries, then I am in real trouble. So I think that's how you would differentiate between the two.
Great. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. Next question is, should entrepreneurs seek professional counseling after a failure?
Uh, it's each to its own, honestly. Practically, if you talk about, I think each to its own. If you've been able to identify where it went wrong, what went wrong, and if you're able to identify how you can rectify it, I don't think you need advice or anything. But I seriously feel, if the flaw that you've identified is on the business model itself, then please seek advice or counseling, whatever it takes, because you can't go wrong twice. I mean, you can't repeat the, like I said, it's all right to have mistakes, do errors, but don't repeat the same mistake the second time. Okay, so if you feel that you're not able to identify, then it's all right. I mean, it's all right to go and ask for professional advice.
So with similar lines, there's one more question, and she says, Indu is asking like, how or where do we find a mentor?
Do you find a mentor? See, it'll largely depend on the kind of domain that you are in. Somebody who's an expert in the kind of business that you're looking to run, should be the best person to seek advice from. The person is able to see through the challenges and the pitfalls that the particular business will come with. Like my mentor, I came from, I mean, he hailed from a garments background, but he shifted into recruiting almost the time that I did, but he was able to scale it much faster. So he's been my mentor throughout, and I think I've got my best career advices from him. Uh, so you could look at that direction. The other is, a successful business. Ask people. You will get to know where the vibe clicks. There is no harm. When I started, when I went to random people and told them my business idea, random people, I mean candidates, because those are the people that I was interacting the most with. So my senior candidates, I went up to them and I told them, what if I was to start this, what is your view? And there were people who really gave me advice, and there were people who I could look forward to talking to again and again. So you will know where the vibe is. Otherwise, LinkedIn is a great platform. Connect with people, start talking to them. They'll I mean, people love to give a free ka gyan. So you will get to know when you find that
I
right
think
person.
if I have to add on to it, I would say I'm sure we have the one of the best people on platform. Even today, Miss Kanika is available, so you are there as a mentor. So in case we will get a lot of such industry experts who
I'm
come
sure.
from varied backgrounds, very different academic backgrounds, business backgrounds, various professions they come from, and all are ready to help somebody who really
Absolutely.
wants to do something bigger. Right. So I would again suggest Sindhu that in case if any day you look forward, as ma'am said, you can connect anybody on LinkedIn. Lot of speakers are available on. If you just go to GIBS IRE page itself, I'm sure you will find more than about 200 to 300 people just right sitting there to help you out. Only thing is you need to approach. As
Yes.
there's one book which is very close to me, which says The Power of Subconscious Mind, which says ask, believe, and receive.
Receive.
Right. So first is you will have to ask. I'm sure there are a lot of people to help you out on every lines.
Absolutely.
Right. So with due constraint of time, apologies for all these participants whom we could not take up the questions. And thank you so much, madam, for joining us.
Thank you.
I would say it was a fantastic talk, I would say, and session. We learned a lot of things. We learned a lot of cycles which you taught us, what has to be done, how it needs to be taken forward, how do we judge, how do we evaluate a lot of things. So we were really privileged and happy to learn a lot of things from you. Looking forward to have many more such online as well as the offline session for all our students as well. So
Thank you.
looking forward to learn many such more things, ma'am. Thank you so much
Thank
once
you
again.
so much for having me, and I'm sorry about the tech glitch. I think because of that, we couldn't answer a few questions. Should anybody need, you could probably, Sandeep, get them mailed, and I can respond to the
Certainly.
same
We'll
as.
look forward for that. Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone, once
you.
again.
Have a
Heartfelt
great.
gratitude to everybody who has joined in today and being so enthusiastic, asking a lot of questions. So looking forward to see you again in then one more, upcoming IRE Talks with another one more enlightening person we'll have with us. So stay tuned with IRE Talks and stay connected with GIBS as well as Ms. Kanika on over the probably social media platforms. Thank you. Thank
Thank,
you so much once again, ma'am.
thank you. Happy Holi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wish you the same, ma'am.